quite deficient. Oh, perfect. Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. So I'm so curious, Johnna, how you got started in this. Like, how did you develop
Yes.
Mixly? Where'd that come
Yeah.
from?
Yeah. So we launched 4 months ago, but it's obviously been in the works for much longer than that. And so my business partner and co-founder Megan and I worked together at a different. My background's always been food and beverage CPG, so we were
Okay.
working at a Minneapolis-based CPG company, and to be honest, like we just were miserable, and it was not, it was, we just saw like, we kept talking about the type of culture we wanted to create and working for ourselves. And wouldn't that just be the dream? And then it snowballed into we should actually do it. And we just started brainstorming like, different business ideas. And she's a big cocktail like lover and maker. And I love cocktails, can't make them myself, like too much hassle. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. So she had a best friend from college that's a mixologist. So we kind of pulled in him to help like make the recipes. And so, and of course, COVID kind of threw us for a loop for a little bit, but got things back on track. And since we've launched, it's been incredible. And part of it, I'm sure I don't know if you feel the same way, but I kind of don't know how to operate. It's either like, it has to be full steam ahead, like pedal to the metal, like, and so we've kind of been doing that, and the response has been awesome so far, like only 4 months in, and we've gotten great traction here locally in retail. And then we're looking to expand in the South. I have like a sales rep that we're bringing in to kind of help us get into that market. And then we're looking at a spring test with Target, a regional test.
Amazing.
I know. Yeah. So it's been,
Well, you're in the right location. Are you in Minneapolis?
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how, like I've, people like, oh my gosh, how did you get into Target so fast? I'm like, a friend of a friend, like, who like knew the buyer. Like, it's just like the market we live in, like everyone, all roads lead to Target. So yeah.
It's
So
amazing.
how about you?
So, similar in the works for about it's I started this February of 2020, so like literally right before COVID.
Mhm.
But we just launched a little over a month ago online. So that's how long it has taken to get everything up and running. And I'm also curious about that for you with like logistics, operations, supply chain, because that has been really horrible. I mean,
Yep.
for so many people, but I'm curious about
Yes.
that. What issues you've had with that, with like co-packers and getting bottles. Like I literally have bottles that are on these slow boat from China right now. Like, when are they coming? Oh, they're making a stop in like another country on the way to get to Mexico. Um, so definitely a lot of issues on that end and logistics. How have you found that, as far as like how hard was it to find a co-packer for your product, to get your packaging and all that, especially with
Yeah.
what's been going on during COVID?
Yeah. Well, so right now we're still making it ourselves in a rented kitchen space.
Okay.
That will not happen for Target. And so right now what we're talking to a few different co-packers and and that and then we're also looking at renting a bigger space and kind of becoming our own manufacturers, because there is some opportunity in more of like the food service side, and kind of, so anyway, so we're exploring all of that right now. I think for sure we'll do, I think just to the quickest way to get online for our bigger distributors and Target will be, to go the co-route. So that's been tough, just because, as it's like those like it's not like there's like an easy directory to like find them. And so
Right.
we just brought on a broker who's going to help us find a co-packer, co-man. And so that's been good. Um, and then for like, honestly, most of the bottles that we use are the vendors we've had are made in the USA. So we've been lucky there. The issue is sometimes it's like the fresh juices. That can be an issue where we're waiting on, our supplies there. But so far, it hasn't been that bad, but I can only imagine as we scale that I'm sure we'll start to feel the pressure and elsewhere. But yeah.
Right. Just because everyone's so busy and there's shortages of, glass and things like that. And you're in a glass
Oh,
bottle.
I
How did
know.
you choose that packaging? Like, why did you decide glass? And what are there any, obviously you use all fresh juices. So what are the issues that you face with like shelf stability and things like that?
Yeah.
Because of,
Yeah. So when we started at first, we were like, well, we're gonna be refrigerated. It was like quickly like the logistics of that and the cost of that, like going into market and the uphill battle, it's just was insane. And so basically we had to, it's the way it stays shelf stable, it's heat treatment, it's like pasteurization.
yeah,
But even to figure that out, like we had to get all these certifications and take all these food safety courses and whatever to do that. So that just took some time to figure that out. um but we chose glass just because it is a more premium product, and I think a consumer who's more environmentally conscious. And so that felt like the right, avenue for us to go. I think, as we go forward, like people have asked, like, oh, would you ever do a seltzer, like add bubbly to it, and I think we definitely would explore that. But for now, it just feels like, yeah, glasses, I think makes sense for us right now. So,
yeah. No,
yeah.
definitely has like that feeling, especially if you're trying to make it look like an elevated at-home cocktail. And
Right.
how focused, I know you're looking at retailers when you say like Target, how about your D2C? Like obviously we're only online right now through our website, which
Yep.
is interesting because for alcohol it's very difficult to do. And you really have to have a third party who's fulfilling it and selling it through a retailer because of all the um, rules, three-tier distribution rules.
Yep.
But for you, you can tell like how focused are you on that as far as like your marketing efforts and like how big a part of your strategy is like kind of the D2C route.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of, secondary, tertiary, because for us, our struggle is like the cost of the mixer and then to ship it
Shipping.
is just crazy. And it's different where it's like if you're the spirit, if you're the alcohol, right? Like people are willing to, like, they're gonna pay it's a premium, it's the
Yeah.
stuff. And so our mixer, it's like that fine balance of like being premium, but also like it doesn't have alcohol in it. And so you're not gonna pay the same for a bottle of mixer as you would, your spirit. And so for us, like I wanted to have D2C as a quick way to turn on, get brand awareness, like drive trial. But I don't think it will be like, it's not going to be our key sales channel moving forward. We are going to be putting over the holidays, like an investment in terms of digital spend and, driving to D2C, just because again, like we have it, and also a good way to like prime the market for our target test and
Yeah.
get people familiar with the brand and trying it. So when they see it on Target shelves, they're like, oh, yep, like I know,
Right.
love Mixley. So yeah, so it'll kind of always be, a secondary, platform for us. But I feel like most brands, like you have to have it. I think consumers just like expect brands to have it.
Right. And have
Yeah.
you thought about, because you have so many great flavors, doing like smaller size like sampler
Yeah.
kits? Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious for my own
Totally.
personal.
Totally. Yeah. That will be launched actually this week. So small kind of holiday packs, sampler packs. And those are great for incentivizing trial. They're not great for
I know.
um the margin sucks, but it is great to get, just more product in people's hands and gift giving. So yeah, so we'll have those for sure.
That's that's great.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you did this. Did you go through like any certification processes? Like, are you women owned certified and like that? I was wondering if that helped you with inroads to Target because like we got WeBank certified because I think
Yep.
there are a lot of retailers that have diversity buyers.
Yep.
I didn't know if that's something
Yeah.
that you did.
We haven't done the certification yet. It's on my to-do list. I think so far, just in conversations, like people seeing me and Megan, like no one's asked for it yet, but I do think like that in preparation for Target, like for that actual like kind of supplier certification, like background, like I think we need to have it. So I am going to get it, just haven't done it yet.
Have someone who can help you out. I'll put her in the chat if you are interested, just because it is like
Yeah.
a pretty arduous process. And so I went through this woman who
Oh,
can help
okay.
you do that and fill out all the paperwork and things like that, because it is, I know, very time consuming. And
Yes.
I know you have a partner, but it's still, I'm sure you're both totally inundated. I'm a solo entrepreneur, so if
Yeah.
that one extra task just would have put me over the edge, there was no way I could have finished it.
Totally.
So,
Well, and I'm still working my corporate job. So I
oh
work,
my gosh.
I know. So I work for Campbell's. I work on their Pacific Foods organic brand. And so that's why, like, you'll notice, like, on my personal, like, social LinkedIn, I haven't changed anything yet, just because I have to be super careful right now. So my goal is by spring next year that I'm going full time. So it's one of those things like I've had to learn to, hey, it is worth the investment to have someone else do this, to like offload it, because there's just not enough time in the day.
I put it in the chat,
Yeah,
and tell her I sent you.
I will. That's
Um,
awesome. Thank you.
so yeah, no, I agree. There's certain things I'm trying to hand off because obviously it's like you want to save and
Yes.
bootstraps. I'm like, okay, well, I can just do that. And I can do that. But at some point, it's like um, someone has to take over some of those functions because you can't do everything.
No,
Um,
totally.
and how do you find, like, since you do have a co-founder, like, are your skill sets complementary or are there different? So do you guys cover different kind of areas? How does that work? Yeah.
Yeah. So my background is all like marketing strategy communications. And so that's been very helpful in, just kind of like our go-to-market plan and how we want to show up and what we need. And I have had exposure to the sales side, like building a sales presentation and all of that. So that's been helpful. I think Megan, she's an incredibly talented graphic designer. That's her background. So she did our packaging. She shoots all of our social content right now. She's just, yeah, she's so creative. And then our other business partner, Stuart, he's the mixologist. So he kind of leads like actually making the product, and planning our production. And then we have our senior advisor, which is actually Megan's dad. His whole background is manufacturing and operations in CPG. So that's what he's done his entire career. So he's really helped us like navigate like the co-man situation, even like just operational procedures, like food safety procedures, all of that. So it's been like really nice, like all four of us, like have totally different backgrounds, but everything that we need. The one area that we don't have is sales. And so that's been like our biggest, just like learning curve of like understanding this world of distributors and buyers. And then what do the sales reps do? Like just getting the like lay of the land and then figuring out, what do we want to invest in? Like, do we invest in a full-time salesperson? Or do we go to a broker first? Like navigating those conversations has been like, that's been just like the biggest learning curve for us. So I don't know about you're D2C, but I'm sure you're still,
It's really more about, right, like we want to be in retail, that's the next step.
Yep.
But
Yep.
because it's alcohol, like we don't have a choice. We have to have a distributor.
Yes.
So there has to be
Yep.
that middleman. So that's the next step, is finding a distributor, and you have to find a distributor state by state. So
Yep.
we start in Illinois because that's where I am.
Yep.
And then the next market, but for every market, we have to find the right distributor,
Yep.
and have enough support there, which is why when you mentioned like the sales part of it, I mean, for us at least, if you don't have sales support in the market, I can't really expect a distributor to do that much for
Right.
us. We have to have our own, boots on the ground. So we're gonna be really kind of strategic and thoughtful about which geographic locations
Yep.
we go into. But I
Yep.
agree with you that the online piece of it will give us some information, right? It'll kind
Yes.
of help figure out which locations. And we think we know who this consumer is. I mean, we have a tequila that's really primarily focused on a female consumer because
Yep.
they've long been overlooked by spirits brands. And when I created the bottle design, taste, aroma profiles, everything we did based on what we thought this consumer wants. So we have a good idea of who she is, but we'll have a lot more data when, from the online sales, and that's data we never would have because once we sell to a distributor or sells to a retailer, and we never really have access to any of that information. So I'm hoping that'll kind of help define our markets and
Yeah.
target customers a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that is like the digital, I mean, just like you get to get all this information and data of like what works, what doesn't, and helps like kind of, tell that story to retailers when you go in. Yeah.
Totally. But you're lucky that you have so many in-house resources. So that you have someone who could do graphic design, that you
Yes.
can do marketing that. So I have to rely on a lot of,
Yeah.
consultants and agencies to
Yep.
handle that. My background's like accounting, law, and corporate strategy. So really, good at the analytics part of it, the numbers,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
overarching strategy. Marketing is a completely new world for me. So, I mean, I wasn't even on social media at all before last year. Like,
Yeah.
did not even have a Facebook account. So it's
Yeah.
all been a whole new.
Well, your
all
personal
learning.
Instagram, I mean, is it, I forgot the name of the agency. Are they doing all that for you? Because it's
Not
beautiful.
my personal.
Not your
Not my
personal. Okay.
Be
Okay.
Inspired by Mara. No, but I
Okay.
have a fantastic intern now that does that.
Nice.
I mean, I'm so slow. It would just take me a long
Oh,
time
yeah.
for
Yeah.
anything that I wanted to do or post. That would be a major time suck. I also try not to be on it too much during the day because that also, you can get like sucked into it. So, and actually that's something, if you ever do need any support, I found that I've had a lot of luck with that using interns. Like there's
Nice.
Indeed.com, there's this agency called Townhouse Digital, and they train
Okay.
interns for you. So they put them through like social media training. So you get
Yeah.
trained people, they help find them for you and then train them. So that's where actually I got my intern that's doing my social media.
Nice.
So I found that really useful. We have someone who's done like another one who does a lot of graphic design for us. So when we're doing marketing materials or things like that and doing the layouts and everything,
Yep.
or decks.
Yep.
So I found that really, that's been helpful. And I know you're doing Target. Did you apply by any chance to any of the Target accelerators or any
I
of the food and beverage
didn't.
ones? Okay. I was
No.
curious because they have one
No.
specifically for food and beverage, and I didn't
Yep.
know.
Yeah. No, it really was like my neighbor golfed with the buyer, and like
Okay.
that's how, like, how it's like one of those things,
That's
like it wasn't even on my radar yet to like set up a meeting with Target. And so so it was just one of those things. But no, that's really helpful because it's funny. I had a terrible, people have recommended like Fiverr and Upwork, and I had a horrible experience with Fiverr, and it had like had them like do all of our email flows. And I just think, for many reasons, it just did not work out. And so now I'm sitting here with all of the flows are built, but like I need like all the copy has to be rewritten and like the design had to be fixed. And so we found a more reputable person through what I'm lucky is like over the course, I started in the agency world and then I went corporate. So I just have so many like talented friends across the agency world who have been willing to like help us for cheap or for free. So that's been great. But yeah, the agency that you're working with in Austin, right? They look like they create some really cool
for
stuff.
social media. Yeah, they do great content creation.
Yeah.
I also put in the chat for you. There's a company called Marketer Hire. So like when you need something like a specific, I don't know if you looked at them. I figure with your marketing background, you probably know about them. And then the Hub for asset creation. and you can find like, I just found something to do specifically like cocktails or I like gifts and movement. So someone who could do all like product shots with
Yep.
gifts or stop motion. Um, and I, they seem to be good and have
I
really good
work with
people
the
on that.
hub.
Oh, do
Yes.
you?
Yes. Yep. They're great. Yeah.
Okay, and
They're
you've been happy with
actually,
them? Great.
yes. Yeah. I use them on the Pacific food side. And then also we're going to be using them for Mixly. So yeah.
Oh, amazing. Good. I heard about
Yeah.
them from, I don't know if you are part of Food Bevy.
No.
It's a group, food and beverage, and he sent out like a lot of different resources and has community and they had like discounts, and I actually learned about it from his like weekly newsletter.
Oh, awesome.
And they had a discount on it. So that's interesting. Yeah, the hub
Oh, cool.
I think is good for like assets if you need more assets created. Um
Yes.
I'd be so curious. So if your mixologist comes up with a great drink that he loves with Inspiro, let me
Yes,
know with your
I
mixer.
will. I absolutely will. I'll talk to him. Um, yeah, he's so, because that's the thing. He's been dying. He cannot wait to like, now that we've launched, to start to come up with like, okay, there's Mixly, use as is, right? For the people who want no
Yeah.
fuss, whatever. And then he's like, but then I want to like make it fancy. Like, and then here's like what you can do and like add a little bit of this or that. So I bet he could definitely come up with something phenomenal.
Yes, I love that. So let me know. We can
I
even
will.
I can direct them also if he has a recipe that he's like, oh, this would be a great recipe. They can, come up with that. But I do think it's also a convenience factor, right? It's so easy. Ice, 2 parts,
Yes.
1 part. I mean, done. And you have a
Yep.
cocktail. I mean, that's really, easy. Have you looked at doing do you do any like TikToks or reels with that? Like making cocktails? Have you been doing that?
Yeah, we're gonna do some reels. And then we haven't ventured on a TikTok yet, which we need to. I think, and that's part of it is my business partner, Megan. She's also working a corporate job. And so we're hoping to have, my plan is, Megan and Stuart, are mixologists. They're both like in their mid-20s. They don't have families yet. So I'm like, it's easier for them to go full-time first. And then for me, it's not, it's more so like I know we would be fine. It's just like, um, like when you have kids and like your life
Yeah.
is just so much bigger. And in my world too, it's not like they're at the point where they could get another job like tomorrow. And just when you're more at that like senior level, it's harder to like, you got to,
Yes, I
so
understand. I have 3
yep.
kids, so I get
Yes.
it. Another community, so just to look into, because you
Yeah.
said that, is Hey Mama. I don't know if you're
Yes.
involved in that.
Yes. Yep.
I have met like a ton of people. Like that's how I found my PR person, my paid
Oh,
ads person.
nice.
Like it's a very collaborative, and if you put something out there, you will get a ton of responses
Oh, that's
as far as
awesome.
like
Yeah.
looking for this or whatever. So I don't know if you've looked into it at all, but I'm involved in like a few different like really good, strong communities for like women owned and
That's awesome.
female leaders. But um, that is one of them that just provides like a lot of resources, connections, and it's just very collaborative.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's
so
awesome. Because it is a unique, like I'm sure like in my community of, my girlfriends, there's no one else in my position. And so sometimes it's just like, I just need to like talk to someone like who gets it. And even that in itself is just like, it's just so nice to connect to people who are in like similar situations.
well, I am happy to do that anytime because I always
Me
find that I
too.
learn something. Like there's someone who's done something and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a great idea or a
Yeah.
resource, or you found someone who does great photographs or whatever it is. Um, and I appreciate that. I feel like there's always something. I hope
Yeah.
I can always share something too, but I think
Totally.
there's always something that I can
Yeah.
learn talking to
Yeah.
another founder, especially
Yeah.
female founders.
Yep.
And I've been so pleasantly surprised with just how, I don't know if you found this, just how helpful people are.
Totally.
Like,
People are so helpful. I have been floored by the openness of time, but even like resources, I'm just like,
yeah,
wow, it's incredible.